Hello, my name is Malcolm, and thank you for joining me on the 13th episode of Just Trying to Live a Positive Life, Season 2. As normal, thank you for everyone that has played a part in listening to any of these episodes, for however long you've listened. Thank you for feeding what I have to say about my journey in life into your ears. It's much appreciated. Episode 13. Repeat, repeat, now do it again. This episode is about the simple basics that I was going to say we forget about. I'll say I really forgot about up until only, a year and a half ago. And it's one of the things, even though I knew inside I wasn't being patient enough and applying this simple, I won't even say techniques, the simple procedure with everything we have to do. And I thank the late, great Bob Proctor for that. His book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, I believe it's called. And a book that I read a year and a half ago and listened to it on Audible many a times. And I haven't read it yet. I know, I bow my head in shame. Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, which I believe greatly influenced Bob Proctor's book, along with other material that he had read. And again, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the principle of the psycho-cybernetics is about your brain learning, patterns or repeat cycles that you need to do to achieve certain things. And you have to change the way your thoughts are and what your thoughts are used to thinking. And very much in Bob Proctor's book, he really does bring home the repeat. We have to keep getting used to whatever it is we are applying ourselves to over and over again until it changes the way we think and the way our brain patterns and brain waves. I'm not going to get all technical and scientific about it because I can't. I don't know enough in that way to try and feed you loads of science. But the concept of it is, repeat, repeat, and do it again. And funnily enough, this helped me immensely with books. Because many people I've spoken to, and they've had the same issue with me, where they've read lots of books, and then they've wondered, when they've sort of said to themselves, I don't remember most of what I read. And then you kind of think, is it a me problem? Is it me? Can I not retain what I'm reading? I mean, you can't retain most of what you're reading, but you think, is it me? Like, is my brain that bad? Is my brain really a sieve? Am I losing everything, even though I'm reading books? And it goes back to the simple process of repetition. So if we're reading a book, regardless if it's about sports, if it's about cooking, if it's about self-development, which is my favorite genre, by the way, whatever we're reading, and especially if it's new information, it's not going to stick straight away. There's going to be certain parts and key sections of the book that that stand out. And I say sections, it might be just a line here or a line there, or the general gist of what the page has said. But the majority of it is not going to stick because it's new information and our brain isn't used to what we've read. So it can only grab at certain parts and the rest of it will just fall by the wayside. Oh, it makes perfect sense after I listen to Change Your Paradigm because, we have to get used until it's ingrained into our pattern. So I stick with books. So if I'm reading new information, I need to read it and read it again. And what I found is a lot of things, especially over the past few years, with talking about these book challenges, read this many books in a month or read this many books in a year. And I always sort of frowned on that because I thought, well, reading's not a competition. Reading's meant to be an enjoyable hobby, pastime, whatever you want to label it as. Not a competition to say, I've read this many books, I've read that many. And so it's not about how many you read. And even more so, if I'm reading this book on sports and reading that book on, yeah, that's fine. But reading all them books, how much of the information am I really going to retain? Again, I don't have statistics or facts in regards to how much you retain, but if you're reading loads of different books, especially scattered over many different genres, how much of stuff are you really retaining? So how can how can we expect anything else of ourselves but to lose all this information? Now, in regards to if we stick to a genre of what we're reading, the same sort of genre. So if we talk about sports now, if I'm reading about how can I improve my football skills, now I can read the same book over and over again, and I will definitely start to retain the information because I'm getting used to what I'm reading. I'll know when I'm coming back to a certain section, oh yeah, this is when it talks about this part or that part. So already I'm starting to remember the information, and that's starting to be ingrained into me. But that probably will get quite boring reading the same book over and over again. But what we can do is read other books on football from other perspectives, and we'll still probably pick up the same information or very similar information, but in a different way. And that's what makes it more interesting, is it? Then when we're hearing the same sort of thing from different perspectives, but we're still retaining enough of the information of the subject that we want to learn. So again, like with the self-development stuff, if I want to read about confidence, I can read that same book over and over, or find different authors that have written books on confidence, and it will start to get ingrained into my mind. Now, it's such a simple concept, but it really took until, like I said, a year and a half ago for it to come back to the forefront of my mind after reading and listening to the Audible I mentioned. And what I really liked that Bob talked about in the book was about repetition down to everything. As a baby, when we learnt to walk, we would fall over and get back up and fall over and get back up until that pattern of walking was ingrained into us and we knew how to do it. When we're at the gym, the muscles don't just get big after lifting once or twice. Once we get used to what we're doing, once the muscles start to understand the process, it starts to get ingrained into us. Now, it might be a different kind of repetition to walking or a different kind of repetition to reading, but it's still down to the principle of the body will never maximize itself from just doing something once, which sounds obvious. But then why do we not give ourselves more time? Why are we not more patient with ourselves in these situations? We want the quick fix, even though really we know that doesn't work. Or we get mad because we can't do something as quickly as we want to. Of course we can't. The body is not used to doing it. It's new for the body. The body may push back against what we're trying to do until it starts to understand what's happening and the benefits of it. So within this, I hope repeat, and do it again makes sense. And whatever we're taking on as a new challenge or a new experience, let's remember to give ourselves the time we need, and let's make it as exciting as we can, even if we are learning through different sources. But let's stick to that same frame and give ourselves the patience needed. Sorry, that's my cats running around. If that's being picked up by the mic, apologies, but cats will be cats, right? Let's give ourselves the patience we need and enjoy the process of knowing that as long as we are putting the effort and the work in, we're going to get the results we need. But let's not be too harsh on ourselves, because at the end of the day, we are only human and we are just trying to live a positive life in the best way that we can. Thank you for joining me on episode 13 of season 2 of Just Trying to Live a Positive Life. And join me next Wednesday, 3 a.m. UK time. That's 3 a.m. UK time. And remember, just because the episode goes live then, it doesn't mean that's when you have to listen. When you wake up on Wednesday, think, hey, I need to go and listen to my favorite podcast. I say in inverted commas, and check out what's been spoke about, what the topic of the week was. Enjoy your week and catch up soon. Take care.